We're here today. What's the date? 13th. The 13th, the Pearl of Africa, downtown, what's this, South Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A unique brand of Negro, the Philadelphia Negro. And you only got a few that's unique. Chicago is very unique. Very unique. And then it depends on migration patterns, too. Then the rest of the people just from, like New York, they're just a bunch of niggas from South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia. You know, it's based on the migration pattern. Chicago is a place, they got so many interest groups converging into one until, boy, you got to appease about 2,000 different types of entities or groups and stuff like that, which I think is the detriment of all of us, is these particular groups at this particular time. And if you are in a particular group and all, I think that you should go clandestine or go underground, where you supposedly at this particular time have seen everything that's been that the so-called conscious movement has to offer, and realize that you got to take all this stuff and sweep it up together, because it's all in fragments. And that's one of the biggest problems right now, is we still got these different groups playing tug-of-war with ideology. And most of it deals with mostly historical aspects. We should be at this particular time right now, if we understand we are the original people and very ancient and we can't calculate our time. Same thing Elijah Muhammad told us years ago, that I think at this particular time, I don't think that history should be the primary focus. We've had the last 15 or 14 maximum years of history from the Afrocentric movement on in, and basically our plight has gotten even worse. So obviously, the argument is not based on history. You see what I'm saying? The argument now is in all honesty, I think what happens at this particular time, we have to sweep all things together. And in this particular case, what we're dealing with now in 2001 is that most of the actual groups somehow are based off of righteous and piety. So in the last 14 years, to show how much the devil, the white man, was, we had to bring this mythology of how pious and how righteous and how beautiful we are. And in so many words now, we understand that the walls are tumbling down around the world on piety and righteousness. So that means, in actuality, there's a whole nother expression. And in so many words, the expression is basically pretty much most of the things that the church told you not to do, you're supposed to be indulging in. Now, that's a whole nother topic there. And so we get into a whole gripping topic. We always try to bring something new, and that is the role of knowledge and information. Is if you keep going and you keep learning, when it gets to a particular area where it might be controversial even to yourself, you need to try to weigh, analyze, and try to see the bigger picture. And which I'll try to do is explaining the both sides of the bigger picture in a few minutes. Before I go on, like I said, there's an attack around the country to shut down consciousness in the aspect of, you got your terrorist bill that was passed in November, which means we are under martial law. Been under martial law, but now it's official. Whenever they can try you, arrest you, try you, and execute you, and nobody has nothing to say about it and all. Basically, you talking about the same thing in America say that they're not, they are. All under the guise of terrorists, they can so-called suspend all the laws that they claim they had, which we know that wasn't subject to us, as far as we never was a part of those so-called American freedoms. We know now that it's official. Under the name of terrorism, they can do what the hell they want to do. And pretty much that's the way it is. So, like I said, there's the spaces, as far as where we go and have these particular meetings around the country, is drying up. And basically, the first people that they stepped to was the people under the 501c3, which was tax exempt. I had an incident where it's the first time in my own hometown, first time ever I was not able to be allowed to speak, was in November. And the government was real crafty about it. They waited till the last day. And then the very last day, and then the next day they told the people told us the day before that we wasn't going to be able to speak. Now that was so crafty because they had a whole week to do it, and we probably could have found another place. But they did it that way and all because, you know, it was a government thing. It was 501c3. They were soup line. That's another thing, all these old soup kitchens and all this bullshit. And pretty much feeding the homeless and all this kind of thing here. I mean, you got 4,000 churches doing this, and we even have to look into this whole homeless problem and stuff like that. I mean, we supposed to be gods, but if a black man can't put no soup in a bowl, then something is mighty wrong. We just talking about taking some soup and putting it in a damn bowl. Now, it don't take no PhD or some metaphysical litmus test or no type of white man opportunity to find you some damn soup and put in a bowl. Then we find out in actuality that the homeless thing is all designed by the government. Give you an example. Downtown Atlanta, I counted something like 500 homeless people in the course of from June to August of 1998. And most of them black men. You know, most of them black men. And then I found out what was happening but I noticed on Fridays, a lot of the new people that hit the street had armbands on. So apparently what had happened is the government every Friday, they let so many umpteen black men out of the crazy house, out of the mental institution, to create the facade that there's this homeless problem, not necessarily because they want to help raise awareness for people who don't have a place to stay, but they have to still project a certain image or a certain aspect to the masses of the people in the aspect of, if you got generally a conservative mindset that has been designed for white folks and so-called the newly upper mobile black folks over the last 20 years, in order for them to manifest this conservative idea, they have to show another side of the track and for them to base their conservativeness off of. So if you got 1,000 black men downtown hassling you about give me some spare change and stuff like this, you see, this brings on an alternative viewpoint. So they have to have certain things in design to keep this bullshit going. Case in point, you had all these so-called these movies, Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, and all this that came out at the turn of last decade, 1990, 1991 and all, to go and coincide with the whole crack epidemic thing that the government put out. In order for them to make this a reality, they got to have so much propaganda going down. So as a result, they get the greatest actor we got now, supposedly, and make him do the same New Jack City movie in 2001, and then give this motherfucker an Academy Award. And this is all a part of propaganda. It's designed. So now this movie is sanctioned to go around the world. So when it goes to Japan, it goes to New Zealand, it goes to Ireland, it goes to London, they go, okay, the business is the same in the hood. You see? When we know basically, man, there ain't no such thing as no hood no more. I know 98% of the cities I've gone through, they have gotten rid of so-called quote-unquote underclass problem. But if they still got propaganda is if they still got to keep a people on the bottom, they have to have a certain viewpoint for people around the world to come and say these are savage people. So then you take Halle Berry, put her in a movie, and push the rated R thing that they've been trying to push for the last 15 years. They've been trying to push this rated R thing on into a soft porn. You see, nobody would touch it in Hollywood, so what they do, you get the black girl to do it. And then give her a doggone Academy Award for the fuck scenes only. You see, had nothing to do, because, I mean, my goodness. I mean, it is questionable whether she can act or not. I mean, she had 10 years to prove herself. And all of a sudden now, she takes the doggone top off in the first movie, Swordfish, and then goes to this particular aspect, whereas she goes with this white man that kills in Monsters Ball, who kills her husband. You see? And I mean, my goodness, we're not talking about a person that plays a hillbilly in the movie. We're talking about a fucking hillbilly in real life, Billy Bob Thornton. You see? I mean, the name right there tell you. So what it is, this is all or nothing but a form of initiation. You see what I'm saying? It's saying if you're going to get something, you got to play to the propaganda machine. So her whole thing is, it's the same thing, the black thug or the black hoe. Same as the exploitation deal, but now this is sanctioned through the Academy Awards. You see, and this is how these things go. But what happened is they say we're going to bring a high tech, because when the movie becomes Academy Award movie, this is a movie that is viewed around the world as the premium, creme de la creme. You see? And so therefore it brings more focus to the black pathology. You see? So she gets this particular award and stuff, you see, so she had to sell out in the movie Swordfish before. And then Denzel had to go and do this movie John Q. To get the Academy Award, he has to do the movie John Q, where he takes over a hospital because the HMOs don't pay for his son's operation, and the son has got a rare heart, whatever the thing is, something, and he needs an operation, and so he takes over the hospital to show the world that, you know, this is wrong, you know, because the person is poor, they deserve to live, and he does all this and makes an awesome case throughout the whole movie. This is the 2002 Dog Day Afternoon, where, you know, the person takes over the building and everybody, he becomes the general hero. You see what I'm saying? Or the same movie Running Man, where he, you know, he gets on the game show and the people out the street rooting for him. So he does all of this to make this case to stand up against the so-called capitalistic machine, and then turn right around and bends over to his son, his black son, and tells his black son on his deathbed, don't do like me, you go for the money and you sell out. That's the first time ever we say, oh, that nigga sold out. But this is the first time ever. They said, no, man, you got away scot-free for 10 years, squeaky clean. Now you got to do this. So you can't just assume that you're going to sell out. The people go, well, he done sold out. And they say, oh, that's questionable way they sell out. No, this cat actually bends over to his son in the movie and tells his son, you sell out. You see?